Hey there, Gemini. Welcome to your reading for this is your October bonus reading. You have this exploration card and this investigate card. Yes, Gemini, I think it's an amazing time for you to explore, investigate, both words. I think both things would be very good for you right now, especially Uranus in your sign. Again, it is going to leave in November, but retrograde out, but basically it's going to be there for years to come. And you exploring just all possibilities is gonna, that's where, as I always say, that's where your superpowers are gonna come from over these next several years. So I would take advantage of it. I'm a Gemini moon. I am taking advantage of it, right? So I'm trying to give myself as many possibilities as I can, with everything I do, and trying to explore new ideas, things like that. It will just benefit you the most. And that's like the one thing that you should focus on for sure. So let's see what we have here. You have the Knight of Swords. One thing I will say with the Knight of Swords here, Gemini, is that sometimes I feel that in a reading, he's running up to the next card and then he's running away. And I kind of feel that for you. I'm not saying you're like running away from anything necessarily, but I do feel this is saying, explore new ideas, right? The Page of Pentacles is something new. The Page of Pentacles is the card of studiousness. And so I kind of feel the Knight of Swords is almost saying like no assumptions at this time. Like, if you're learning something about like business or relationships or whatever, it's like, don't just assume that one thing is going to work better than the other thing, or the other idea. I think it would be a great time for you to just be willing to experiment, be willing to try new things, because again, you never know what you're going to discover over the next many years here, Gemini. That's the whole point of Uranus being in your sign. And this won't happen again in your lifetime. You will be dead next time Uranus comes back to your sign. So I would make sure to take advantage of the energy and use it in a productive way. The Knight of Swords also says no rushing, although I do feel that there could be love coming in for you, obviously. You have the Two of Cups, sorry. You have the King of Cups, which you've been getting for a couple weeks now with me. And so this could be a new person. They are showing up as your crossing energy. The crossing energy in a Celtic cross can be what hurts you or helps you. And so I would say that if you are meeting a new person, don't rush, basically, is what this is saying, right? It looks good, for sure, but we'll clarify, some of these other cards, they don't really talk about love. Like, is this really a love reading? I don't know yet. We'll see what happens when I clarify. But, again, I would take your time. Two of Cups is also communication. And so, the other thing is that if you're communicating with a person, it kind of says, like, don't jump to conclusions, especially texting, right? Like, I know you kids nowadays love texting each other or playing the texting game. But what I would say here is it's like you can't get a good feel for a person just texting. It's like some people aren't good texters. You know what I mean? I'm a dummy. Like, I send text messages that don't even make sense. I can't even spell. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like if that's my first impression, I'm screwed. Probably why I'm single, Gemini. But what I would say here is that, again, you never know, right? It's like, maybe someone just isn't very verbal on texting. Maybe they're better talking in person, things like that. It's popping into my head. The other thing I would say here is you have the High Priestess as your next card in the area of what's on your mind. And the Two of Cups is a card of you and your higher self. So with the High Priestess in the area of what's on your mind or what you're thinking about right now, I would definitely be, tapping in spiritually. We do have Neptune will be retrograding back into Pisces in the middle of this month, October. And so it's going to be a very spiritual time. And we also have Saturn is already in Pisces right now. So we have to be like spiritually disciplined. And, it's a great time to do things, to listen to your higher self. As a matter of fact, it's an amazing time to have like a dream journal, or just a journal where you write down your ideas. I'm pretty sure I've said this to you before, because you never know. During these times, it's like we can get ideas that don't really make sense, but when we look at them later, maybe they make sense or they make more sense later, basically. So I would be like really tapping in. The other thing that I definitely would encourage you to do is like push your potential. The High Priestess, she is the card of unlimited potential. There's no roof over her head on the card. And it kind of represents the fact that there are no limits to what she can accomplish. The only limit is her. So I think this is true for most people right now, that we probably could be doing more. And I'm not talking about like burning yourself out, working your fingers to the bone here. But, there are probably things we could do to stand out more, to get more attention, to grow, to have more success. And I would be like working on those things. In your foundation, you have the King of Cups. Again, pretty good card to have as a foundational card because he is sitting on a solid foundation right here. The whole point of the King of Cups is that he's sitting in choppy waters, but he is perfectly fine, right? He's not really worried about the choppy waters around him because he has a solid foundation. Now, the King of Cups would be a solid emotional foundation. We are in an emotional time, especially when Neptune goes back into Pisces, and so the trick with the King of Cups is that we have to explore how we feel about things, but then we have to not drown in our emotions. And so as long as we do that, we'll be perfectly fine, right? It's not about ignoring what's going on around you, but it's about looking at what's going on around you and saying like, okay, this is how I feel. What can I do to change it, right? And I kind of feel like that's what you're doing, Gemini. That's why I'm saying it like this. I feel you are, I think you have explored your emotions on many things. And now you're probably just making changes in your life to, kind of align more with those emotions. I think when we are aligned emotionally, we can accomplish a lot more as well. And that's what it seems like you're doing with this King of Cups. Next, you have this Uncharted Seas card and this Into Me I See card. Yes, it's a great time to be, intimate with yourself, as in your emotions, like I just said with that King of Cups. The other thing about the King of Cups is he has this boat right here. That boat literally represents uncharted seas. And so you have this card that says uncharted seas. Yeah, I mean, you and your opposite sign, Sagittarius, right? You two always get this message that it is time to explore the unknown. I would blame Uranus being in your sign for this, although it's a good thing. I think it'll lead to probably better ideas. Like I said, more success with that High Priestess if you push your potential here. And also if you explore the unknown and like literally just things that you do not know. If you learn about them, you might just surprise yourself with what you're able to accomplish, because again, filling in those knowledge gaps is really what the astrology wants you to do right now. I also feel the thing about Uranus and Gemini is that it is a little bit rebellious, and so but it like wants you to be rebellious. It wants you to, if there are any systems in your life, it wants you to like kind of go against the grain. It wants you to be different. It wants you to think about how you can take the lead, how you can, turn the system on its head, how you can do things from a different angle. I'll give you a great example, actually, Gemini. It's like recently, I've been staying up late. For me, I normally go to bed at like 8 o'clock, right? I wake up at like 4:30 in the morning for whatever reason. And lately, I've been having these classes, and I have to stay up late to go to these classes. But you know what I realized? I've actually been doing more work at night when normally I don't. Like normally, I get these done pretty early. It's like 9:30 in the morning right now, and I'm almost done with the work that I have to do. But there's like other things I've been working on at night, and so it's like I'm kind of like flipping my old system on its head. And again, like I've discovered that I can get a lot done even in the late afternoon, early evening, right? And so it's kind of like, some of you could be discovering these new systems in your life. You have the Eight of Pentacles showing up in the past. I think that hard work is a thing of the past. That does not mean that people won't be working hard. But what it does mean is that we shouldn't be working hard for just because we are told to work hard, right? There are more efficient ways of doing things. Eight of Pentacles is a good card, though. It is a card of mastering a craft. And so I kind of feel that maybe some of you have mastered a skill or, a craft in your life, and now maybe you're taking it to the next level with the Page of Pentacles. This is the card of apprenticeship. The Page of Pentacles is the card of studiousness and learning. But I kind of feel this is saying, like, you have to take things to the next level, above apprenticeship, right? Which is like mastery. Which, that doesn't mean you're going to master something overnight, but, I feel you are kind of working on a skill. Next, in the area of the very near future, you have this gift of money. It says sudden financial change, windfall, small monetary increase, small win, quick turnaround, joy over money. You have this fortune teller. It says psychic gifts, yes, high priestess, trust your intuition, unexpected news, intuition, external forces, future, the unknown, fate, and seeking answers. Yes, I think you have you have the answers. I think one of the tricks of the next many years is that people need to realize that they are the ones that have their own answers. Neptune in Pisces, Neptune in Aries. Both Neptune in Pisces and Neptune in Aries want us to trust ourselves. They both have a certain element of that. So I think we need to listen to our own answers. Money has been really good this month. So, again, this is a small gift. It, might not be like $1 billion, but, some of you could be definitely improving your finances. With the Page of Pentacles also showing up here, I think that your trick is to learn more about whatever it is you do to make money. If you do that, then you will probably get the increase in your finances. This could also represent challenging yourself more. It kind of reminds me of like, it's like if you work with clients, for example, it's like maybe your clients are at a certain level. It's like, can you go to the next level of client? Like maybe one that would require more work, but you could charge more money to them or something like that for more work, right? And I kind of feel I wouldn't really call this a comfort zone, but but kind of, Same thing if you haven't asked for like a raise or a promotion in a while here, Gemini. It's kind of giving me that feeling that it's time to do something like that. And guess what? If your boss says no, maybe it's time to go find a job that will pay you more, right? And I feel this is like really encouraging that next logical step in your career or your business or, whatever it is that you do for money, even if you're retired, right? This could be, maybe you could educate yourself on how to like save more money or how to invest money better or whatever the case may be. I would be, doing all that type of research. I also, on top of that, feel like this could be you communicating with a person. Again, I kind of feel good, bad about this. Not really bad, I shouldn't say that, but I feel it could be a little bit of a, it's like a little bit of a something going on here, Gemini. I just feel it intuitively. If you're meeting a new person this month, it's like one of those things. Like the way that I'm seeing it in my head, I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing here. It's like if you think like if you think you're going to be like, people play games, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm going to text this person now, but I'm not going to respond to them for 4 days. It's like they're going to be doing the exact same thing. And so it's like, is it worth it to play the game? I would say no. I think games are silly in the first place. It's like if you feel like texting the person, text them, right? Like why should we play these games that people on TikTok talk about like, oh, don't text them until like 2 hours after the first date and you can't be too excited. You have to do that. It's like, why do you think relationships are a mess right now? Because of the TikTok relationship experts, right? It's all BS. So what I would say here is it's like, if you're playing those games, it's like they might be like, well, I'm not going to text them. And it's like, do you really want to get into that? Is that something you want to be in the first place? Probably not. So I don't know. I feel there's something about communication going on with a person. We are going to clarify this reading, so we'll probably get more. Next, in your outcome, you have this Take a Risk card and this Stay in Integrity card. Yes, it is a good time for risks. I say to pretty much everyone that the type of risk we should be taking right now is like the risk of standing out, the risk of being wrong, the risk of speaking up at work or something like that and being wrong, the risk of sharing your opinion. Pluto and Aquarius, right? I think something people forget about Pluto and Aquarius is it's kind of like how we shine. Like Pluto is power. Pluto and Aquarius is like the star card. It's not the star card, but Aquarius is the star card. And so the risks that we can all take are like how we put ourselves out there into the world. You're a Gemini. It's like if you're sitting on a fence, then you're going to have a hard time. But it's like if you have an opinion, if you're willing to speak up, speak your mind, things like that, that's where the risk you're going to have to take to stand out. Next, in the area of the next few months, you have the Nine of Pentacles, which is great. Pre-Empress energy, a card of gratitude and luxury. So things could be definitely improving financially. Again, kind of surprised me in this set of readings. Like everybody has had these cards of financial improvements or, doing things to improve their finances, which is really good. So I think a lot of you could be just improving your finances here, or you're like working on things that will improve your finances. I also think this could be like a financial focus, right? She has this falcon on her hand here, and it represents the fact that she's training her focus. And so she is choosing to maybe focus on her finances or investments. I think it would be a good time to make sure you're giving energy to things that are working. She has 3 pentacles here, 6 over here. She's willing to like give 3 pentacles to new things. Like, and the pentacles don't have to be money. This could be her time, her effort, her energy, her attention. But she always does what works. She's keeping 6. She's giving 6 to the things that are definitely working in her life. And your next card is a 6 of Pentacles, right? So, I definitely feel that it would be a good time for you to pay attention to your attention, to your energy, and like what actually gives. But it would also be a great time to experiment just a little bit with these 3 pentacles over here. Next, in the area of your closest relationships, you have the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, I would just focus on giving to what gives to you. He's giving to this person, not this person. Maybe he's giving to this person because this person actually gives back, right? So it's funny that we were talking about the whole texting thing. It's like, I don't know, if you're talking to two people right now, or if you're meeting multiple people, it's like maybe one person is more responsive, or one person, actually gives to the connection or whatever. And that's what I would be paying attention to. I think basically, if I were you as well, I would just be paying attention to this in relationships in general. Like, who are the people that are actually there for you and not? And that I would give to the connections that fulfill you and not the things that don't. And I would really pay attention with the Six of Pentacles. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the Queen of Wands. Really good. Queen of Wands I like with this Page of Pentacles because she is willing to learn as she goes. She doesn't necessarily need all the details. She doesn't need to know that the outcome of something. She is following her bliss. She has this sunflower right here. The sunflower is pointing towards the sun. So whatever makes her happy. I've been saying this for years because of Neptune and Pisces and Pluto moving into Aquarius. I've been telling people, Pluto and Aquarius, we get our power from inspiration. Neptune and Pisces, you have to be inspired with the things that you work on to find success, right? So it's very obvious to me. And the Queen of Wands comes up a lot. And it's definitely something that I like to focus on, is like making sure that the projects, the things I work on are actually coming from an inspired, authentic place. Again, I said to people during Uranus and Taurus as well, and Uranus will retrograde into Taurus. It's like, if you're doing something just for money, it's definitely not going to work. If you're doing something because you actually want to do it, the secret is that you will make a lot of money doing it, and you will be happy that you're doing it, right? So we really have to pay attention to, our inspirations and our inner guidance and what brings us joy, and that's what I would do there. Your outcome is the Four of Swords. Yeah, the end of the year here is a little bit slow. October is a little slower, and not that I think it's going to be too slow, but, it's a little slower. If you need a break, take a break. If you need to take a rest, take a rest. If you need to sleep in, sleep in. Like all those things. Pay attention to your health. Pay attention to your energy. He's also hoping and praying for a blessing here. So there could be some sort of blessing. It is kind of a lucky month. There is a lot of luck this month. So, some of you could be experiencing some sort of blessing that you've been hoping and praying for. But let's see where this is going for you here, Gemini. With the Knight of Swords and the Two of Cups, you have the Three of Cups. Pretty good. Three of Cups can be a celebration. It can be a reunion. For some of you, I do feel this could be a person that you have talked to before, but maybe it just never really went anywhere. I don't think it's an ex or anything like that. I just think maybe it's like a person where it's like maybe they were busy, or they had a lot going on, or something like that. But for most of you, I think it could be a new person. I would definitely encourage socializing for Gemini right now. Again, if you're going to meet a person, it's probably going to be like in public, hanging out with friends, something like that. With the High Priestess, what do you know? You have the Lovers. So yeah, your past readings have really, the past couple readings at least, have really been talking about love, and so there could be love. Of course, the Lovers is you, and this is you being kind of in your head here, Gemini, because it's coming up in the area of what's on your mind, and so you could be thinking about yourself a lot. As I've said to other signs, it is a good month to focus on yourself. So if there's things you want to work on with yourself, or mentally or whatever, it would be a good time to do that. With the King of Cups, you have the World. I would be open to the ideas of the world, which we've talked about with this, and also the what did this card say? Oh, uncharted sea, right? The world is an accomplishment or an achievement, but sometimes the world can say you have to open up to the world and go learn new ways of doing things. My other favorite thing for you, Gemini, she has these two wands. One wand is like the magician's wand. She can attract things through manifestation. The other wand is like an action wand. She mixes both things together. I've said it before. I think that your secret power is going to be mixing two ideas together, in business, in love, whatever, and so don't be afraid of mixing ideas together. You'll probably create your own new world. With the Eight of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Swords. This is becoming more focused on more focused in. If you have been working in an industry that is very broad, you could be becoming more focused, which is good. This is becoming a specialist. They always say that usually specialists get paid more money, right? So I think that would be a good thing for you to focus on, especially if you're thinking about it. Like if you're thinking about specializing in a skill or mastering a skill that is very specific, that could lead to a lot more success. I also think a lot of you are like admitting truths to yourself. We are in a time of truth, but for you, Gemini, I think that you are just admitting certain truths about like the world or about life to yourself, and this could really be setting you free. I get a sense of like freedom from the Ace of Swords. It's like when you stop trying to control things in the world, sometimes I think life gets easier, and it's almost like that's what you're doing. Oh, here you go. With the Page of Pentacles, you have the King of Cups. You've been getting the King of Cups for weeks. So clearly it could, like I'm not saying it has to be a water sign. It could just be a King of Cups type person, someone who's very in control of their emotions. And, again, it looks good. I still think there could be a little funniness with the communication. I'm not really, again, I would never encourage someone to if they're not communicating for 4 days or something like that, I would never encourage you to be in that situation, right? So I want to stress that because just because I say this is good doesn't mean that it actually is, right? And so I would pay attention to that. It's like if they are doing that, maybe you need to call it out, or if they're doing something that you don't like, maybe you need to call it out. I still think it would be good, but maybe there's something you need to speak up about, right? Here you go. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Page of Pentacles, right? Again, so repeating card. You could be feeling very independent. You could be attracting a very independent person here as well. That could be part of the issue. It's like, not that that's a bad thing. I think two independent people together is actually really good, because it's like you both want each other. You don't need each other. But that could be something to communicate about, right? If it even becomes this issue that we were talking about here. I don't see this as a big issue. I see it more as like an annoyance or something that you're thinking about. It could be them as well. I don't know. And so, again, it's something I would communicate is what I'm trying to say. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the Five of Cups. Very interesting. I think a big breakthrough for you, Gemini, is that you're no longer relying on people. I kind of said this with that Ace of Swords and also the Nine of Pentacles being more independent. I don't mean this in a like a nihilistic way or something like that. Or like, I don't mean like you're doing this in a bad way. I just think like sometimes in life I feel, especially when we're younger, we can think that people should act a certain way or do certain things, and then we get disappointed when they don't. I feel this is like a very big picture theme that's going on for you in your life, where you're like, if there are people who want to do things for you and they say that they're going to do something and they do it, I think you're like, great. But if, you're dealing with people who say things and they don't do them, it's like I just see you being like, whatever, it's like not a big deal. It just is what it is. People are busy. I feel like it's almost like you're, letting people off the hook. But also I think you're just kind of more in a mindset where you're like, I'm just going to count on myself. And if other people want to help, great, It feels good. I think it's a good thing that you are developing that attitude, right? With the Queen of Wands, you have the Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is a card of putting your work on display. Yes, Gemini, I definitely feel Gemini is a sign that should be showing off more, right? Showing off your skills, getting more attention. Queen of Wands, she's the card of seduction, but it doesn't even have to be love. She could just be getting attention. And so I would be, anything you're working on or anything you're creating, I would try to get as much attention on what you're working on as possible. It'll just make you stand out. But I also think with this gift of money card here, that if you have a skill, that, showing off that skill could be the thing that brings in better finances. With the Four of Swords, you have the Six of Swords. Yeah, moving on to calmer shores, heading towards improvements. It's kind of a funny reading because I really feel like the thing I want to say is that you're not counting on things, but I don't mean that in a bad way. It's not like you've given up or something like that. It's more you're just like, okay, I'm going to do what I can. If I get the results, I get the results. It's a matter of fact energy or something is what I'm trying to describe here. Maybe I'm not doing a very good job, but I do feel it will be a good energy for you. I think it'll kind of like help you in a lot of ways. You have this chair empty. It says someone is leaving your life. Could be a breadcrumber for sure. It's like if you have been dealing with a person who plays games, who ignores you for extended periods of time or something like that, that is definitely possible. You have this February card and this cobweb. It says, protected from negative forces beyond your control. Yes. There's a lot of worry right now in the astrology, a lot of things to worry about in the world. And I think you need to realize that you are protected. We can spend a lot of time worrying. And I kind of feel this is saying it's not worth it. You have this candle. It says, you will be shown the way. High priestess, definitely needing to trust those intuitions, those gut instincts, those dreams that you have, right? Because I think they are guiding you. You have this lightning card. It says, control your anger or you will be sorry. Yeah, no outbursts at this time. This is true for everyone. There's too much weird stuff going on. Like, if you have an outburst, someone's going to post it online, right? So don't, is what I would say. You have this ear. It says good news. Yeah, you know what's really interesting as well is a lot of people have been getting these like good news cards basically this month. So there definitely could be some good news coming in for you. But a pretty straightforward reading, I would say, Gemini. So thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your month.